Hi Donna. Okay, so here is your past life spread. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at where you are, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, the death, and the lesson learned. And we'll get hints of time throughout. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of relay to you the images and impressions that I'm getting. And your job is to try to connect what we see here with your current life, and I'm going to try to help as much as I can. All right? So, first, we're going to Africa, okay? And when I put this card down, what came to mind was a very poor environment, but I'm seeing like a city. So I feel like this is a bigger city. We're not looking at little villages or anything. This is a bigger city, and we're looking at the very poor end of a bigger city, if that makes sense. And it's feeling more south. And so what it feels like is like South Africa kind of place. And I'm looking at a male life here. It feels male, and we're looking at when he's starting out. It feels like we're looking at a child at this point. But it feels like we're looking at a person who is on the brink of poverty or lives in poverty. All right, and we're looking at a darker skinned person here as well. So it also feels like that time where there is maybe when they like the more modern version of apartheid. I don't know the history of that or like when exactly it was, but that's what it's feeling like, or it feels like a separated place. So let's see what else. The clothing's very basic. He's a very typical product of where he's from as far as like looks go, but I'm feeling someone who's also like feel like a very compassionate person and intelligent. So let's go to what you did with the majority of your time, and this is the Life at Sea card. And I don't know if you're going to be spending your whole life doing something at sea, because these cards, they're not always face value. So life at sea, that can mean like, captain of a ship or something like that. But in this case, I feel like you're just someone who lives near water, near the coast. And it's not like pretty coastal living. It's just that you know that the water is nearby. And I feel like if anything, that is kind of a place you go for like solace or solitude, or that's your vacation, so to speak, would be to go the 10-20 minutes to the coastline, to the water, with your friends, maybe even go swimming, that kind of thing. And I feel like you spend a lot of time there, but that's not what you do for like a job or anything. So that's what it's feeling like. So in your current life, you might be someone who is drawn to Africa in general, or South Africa, or like the culture, the language, the art, music, whatever it might be. As well, you can be someone who finds comfort in water, the ocean, river, whatever it is. Like a water environment might call to you. It might make you feel really relaxed. Like, I know it's very relaxing for a lot of people, but for example, when they say go be with nature, go, spend time in nature to relax, your idea of that might be the ocean, or a lake, whereas someone else might be the forest or mountains, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind as far as connections go. All right, so let's move to the important day, the first important day here. Okay, so we're seeing a graduation, and this doesn't always mean school. It can mean like a graduation in life, or in your soul, or growth in some way. And in this instance, I'm feeling like it's actually both. I feel like we're looking at someone who's completing his school years, which is actually a really like what's it called? Kind of like a privilege for where you are. It's not a right. But it's something like you and your parents kind of have to fight for to get you through school, to get all these kids through school, because it feels like there's always something else pulling at these kids in your community to leave school in order to go and help their families survive. Almost like a lot of people, young people, will just go to a few years of school and then start working to try to bring in money for their family at a very young age. And I feel like you made it through school. And so the relationship we're looking at is the spouse card. And the feelings associated is the duality card of positive and negative, which can mean either positive or negative or both, like a torn feeling, right? So here I feel like we're looking at a young man. I feel like we're looking at still a teenager. And I feel like we're looking at someone who, it's not, I don't feel like you're getting married, but I feel like there is a partner involved, that you find a partner at a very young age. And I don't know if it necessarily means a marriage, because I don't feel like it's a marriage, but I feel like you're finding a partner who is like, it's the spouse card because it's someone like a spouse kind of thing. And I'm trying to see what's going on here. Okay, so there's this like feeling of, I feel like there's a pool of money coming together to put you somewhere like I feel like you're getting out of where you live, and I feel like you live in a place like what they might call like a ghetto or something, or like just like that, you know, an area that's kind of like closed off from other areas and it's very poor. And I feel like this person is involved in helping you get out of it. And it's almost like, what do I want to say? Like, not like, almost like you get a scholarship somewhere. I feel like you go away, you get out of this place and you go and you learn. And it's not too far away, but it's far enough where you don't live at home. And I feel like this person has something to do with it. And I feel like you're able to get an education above the rest of what other people where you come from get. It's almost like, I want to say it feels like a doctor of some sort. I don't know if it's like purely medical, but it's like you go and you get educated in something that you want to bring back to your community. And there's torn feelings because you know that leaving your family is going to leave them struggling, but you also know that leaving your family is the only way that you can come back later and help them. So in your current life, you might be someone who is very involved in your family. You might be someone who's overprotective or who takes care. If you have kids that are grown or not, whatever, it's just if you have like kids, you might be someone that feels like you'll be taking care of them your whole life, even if they don't need it, just like watching over them. Like you just might have that like what's it called, just like the mother of the the patriarch, the person taking care of everything. That might be what you feel is your calling in this life because it comes from this life. Someone who just needs to take care of your people, and that can also mean your community. You might be very community oriented, and if you're not, you might feel like you want to be more involved in community and volunteer work. It doesn't even have to be humans, it could be animals, just like wanting to take care of the people in the community around where you are. It also means that you could be someone who feels bad kind of taking time for yourself to go and, like, if you do have a family or people that rely on you, you might feel bad taking off a weekend and going away to kind of recharge and come back. Or you can be someone who likes that because you really weren't able to kind of do that here. It was always on your mind. Like, this feels like this community or your family was like always on your mind. Like there was almost like no relaxation at all, mentally at least. And in your current life, that can be what you feel too, because it can stem from here, it can carry over, where you always feel like there's something on your mind, something you have to do, someone you have to take care of, someone you have to check in on. On the flip side, how you can make that connection is you might be someone who just wants to chill out and relax and just take time for yourself because of all the time you put into your family and community here. So I feel like we're seeing someone here on this day that is leaving, like who's getting out of his community in that kind of graduation sense. You're getting out. You've passed the not only that, you're highly intelligent. Like I feel like there is a scholarship involved, and I feel like this person, what they do is not that they provide money, but they provide, I feel like this person knows people that allows you to stay with them while you're getting an education and they take care of you. So it might not be where they give you money, but it's where they give you food and a roof over your head and include you in their family life kind of thing. Almost like this person you know and love has aunt and uncle near the university you're going to kind of thing, and you stay with them. So one, you could be someone who doesn't like to rely on strangers or the help of others in this life. You might be a very independent person in this life, just based on having to rely on others in this life for a time. Or you could be someone who understands that people like to help and you do accept help, you see, so you can make connections either way. Alright, so the next important day here. So here we have this card, it's the death card. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean someone you know dies. You can be witnessing a death, or there can be death being, on the news, whatever it is. It's just that there's death surrounding this day. And the card here is family. And the feeling here is grateful. So I feel very much like this day we're seeing something that would actually be in like a history book or like online that you can find. I feel like it's an uprising of some sort, and I feel like it very much has to do with racial tension. And I feel like what's happening is it's very directly involved in your community, and not just your community. I feel like it actually like directly involves like the street that your family and friends like kind of live on. Like it's that, like it's a very focused area, almost like there was like a what's the word, like an explosion or something that's very like targeted, and it was very close to your home, and it did kill people and it hurt a lot of people. It could have even been like a shooting or something like that, and I just feel like it's very violent. There's like there's what's it called? I'm like getting like smoke. So like it's almost like it was almost like an explosion, and maybe it was an explosion and there's smoke. People are running. And the thing is, I feel like your family did make it out, and this occurs around the time that you're coming home anyway from this, but I feel like you're not completely done with your studies of what you're doing, but you come home when you hear this happens. So you come back, your family's okay, and there's a feeling that you do know people that did die. So in your current life, and this card here is the gratitude card, and that's what you're feeling. You're like, oh my God, this could have been me, it could be my family, and it wasn't. And in your current life, you could be someone who's very overprotective of your family, or you can be someone who actually goes like is kind of like numb when you feel like someone close to you is like, let's say there's really bad news at home. You could be someone who numbs yourself to it because of like how this affected you regarding the people that you knew died, or you can be someone who's just very like proactive, like you're like, let me take care of this, I'm here, what's up, like you can be very hands-on, and you might actually be paranoid. You might find yourself paranoid about the safety of people that you love for no reason, and that can come from this. And I feel like you come back, like you check on them and you help them in what you're learning, and I feel like it is something medical, and I don't know if it's a full-on doctor, but I feel like it's something that would be a specialization. So it's like either like a chiropractor, or like someone who specializes in it might be teeth, quite frankly, because I feel like that's an issue here. But whatever it is you're learning about the body and how to help people, and I feel like you come back and you actually do provide a lot of relief during this time, because not only are you skillful and intelligent with what you're doing in order to help people physically, but you're also a very compassionate person. And I feel like just your presence, like what they consider, what's it called, like bedside manner, like you have very good bedside manner, like you make people feel comforted even in the most dire of circumstances that they're going through. And that could be something that you can connect with today as well. But I feel like you help them here, you go back for the short time it takes to finish, and then you come back, and the whole point of going away was to come back so you can help your community in the best way that you can. And it started on this day. Like this day basically secured everything that you thought about this whole life. Like you knew you were going away to come back because they needed help, and this is a perfect example that showed you why they needed you. So that was this day here. And I feel like we're looking at someone who's an adult now. Like, you've grown into like a fine young man, you know? Like, you're a good this is a good guy. Also in your current life, if you feel like there's any masculine tendencies to your personality at all, that can also stem from this. And that's not bad. That's just masculine energy, and that can actually be very helpful. So if you connect with that, just keep that in mind. So the death here, we're looking at an accident card. And I'm trying to see what it is. What is the accident? So there's this feeling of a mistaken identity, and I feel like, honestly, I feel like you're killed. And I have a murder card, but it's not murder because there's no intent. So I feel like you're killed, but the intent wasn't to kill you. I feel like they were going after someone else, and not even to kill them, but just to I feel like to scare the person, but it turned into more than that, very violent. And I feel like it was either 2 or 3 people that came together to teach someone a lesson, and it turned into a death. And I'm trying to see what it was, because it's like it came out of nowhere. So it's almost like a hit from the back. So one, if you have back problems in this life, it would come from this. If you have back, neck, or head problems, like headaches, it would come from this, because I'm feeling like a hit in the back, like from the back, that just hit in the wrong spot, and you just were clocked out, and they didn't realize that it was the wrong person. At least when they were coming at you. They might have realized afterwards, but it was too late by then. And so if you have back, neck, or head issues, or if you're someone that's paranoid, always looking over your shoulder for kind of no reason. I mean, it's always smart to be safe and, look around you, but if you might find yourself to be someone that you consider to be a little bit more paranoid than you need to be, it would be because of this attack on you. So technically it was an accident. It was not an intentional thing where people were out to get you. You just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, looking the wrong way. Also keep in mind, you might have issues with racial tensions. Like, that might be a sore spot for you in your current life. You might feel extreme sympathy when it comes to what's going on in the world today, like Black Lives Matter, things like that. You might be all gung-ho and be like, yes, I want to be part of this, or you're for that. Like, you're very for equality and treating people equal and compassionately, no matter what they look like or where they come from. And so the life lesson here is compromise. And the compromise comes in because you never really gave yourself any time or compassion to yourself. You're always kind of like a workhorse in order to help others. Your drive in this life was for other people. You didn't give to yourself. There's no feeling of experiencing joy just for the pleasure of feeling joy for yourself. I don't even know if you did end up marrying or having a family. I feel like you didn't have a family here. This person could have been someone like a lover or a partner, but I feel like that wasn't a main focus for you at all, and there was no family. So in your current life, you might be someone who wants a big family because you didn't have one here, or you could be someone who is comfortable with not having a family, like kids, or if you do have kids, you might be very okay when they move out of the house, when it's time for that kind of thing. You might be just fine with that because of your independent life here. And it's not like a feeling of loneliness because you were so driven by your passion to want to help others and your intention to learn and just give. So there's not really a feeling of loneliness here. I wouldn't say that. But there is no family here. So you really didn't give to yourself, and I feel like this is coming up because I feel like it's important for you now, you're seeing this, to give time to yourself and to focus on yourself now and to find what makes you happy and what brings joy that has to do with you. It can be volunteer work and helping others, but as long as you're feeling the joy in it for yourself. And I just feel like that is what you need to hear is really like focus on you. If there's something you've been wanting to do for a long time, it's time to take that step towards it. And it's also very important for you to follow what excites you, what brings you joy. I mean, that's just is why I keep repeating myself, because that's what I do sometimes when it's the same thing. It's like joy, excitement, joy. Like whatever makes you happy. It's time for you to make you happy. It's time for you to do you. It's your time. So that is basically it. I hope that's helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. We're able to make connections. And I hope you have a great day, and thanks for letting me read you.